Unsyndicated presents What the Puck with Sean Baligian.
Maybe try USB 2.0 camera. Oh, look at that. Yay. Yeah. You guys got us? Hey, at least we're prepared. No, you're not getting anything?
Yep. There we go.
Hey, all right. Jeez, oh, Pete. We have no idea. So now we have to start over, okay? So Sean, Mike, Coach, Hubie. Hubie had to get here late. Daughter's prom, right?
Yes.
That's so cool. Good for you.
She's a junior skin of the year. But yeah.
So we had some beef short ribs. We did a Mediterranean rub. We did a Kansas City rub. Usually Kansas City hits. It didn't. It doesn't matter when you got a good beef short rib and you get that to 202, 203. It's good. But I hate to ask you guys to repeat yourself. What did you think of I wanted to try something different. I used a Mediterranean rub that is usually set aside for lamb. What'd you think?
I thought it elevated it from barbecue to a high-end meal. It was good. It was way more flavorful than the Kansas City. It was just different than what you would think like that sweet, crusty barbecue rib would be.
Yeah, the Mediterranean blew this thing out of the water, my opinion.
The Kansas City blew the Kansas City out, yes.
Today it was awesome. It was so tender. You know, Mike cutting it with a butter knife. I mean, come on.
That's what Hubie. You've been over here when we've done beef short ribs. It's time and patience. Yeah, like there's a tendency.
Never had your beef short.
Oh, you never? Well, guess what, Hubie? The next time you're here, I promise you, I will get beef short ribs.
The other time I was is the one you had the big barbecue around the COVID stuff, and I got here right from work, and they were already gone.
I promise you.
It's because we had day hockey then.
I promise you, I will. I'll head back to our butcher. I shout out to Plymouth. I I'll head back there. I'll get some beef short ribs. They are phenomenal. It is somebody that we used to know called it high end pot roast, and I think that's the best. That's the best explanation for it. All right, thoughts on the first period?
2 weeks though. Plymouth, 2 weeks. Right?
Oh, I know. Yeah, dude, they're like their burger jalapeno cheddar blend is really.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
That hits, dude.
I'm waiting.
All right, boys, thoughts on the first period?
A little timid. I thought Colorado was the better of the two teams. They had better possession. I thought they had better entries. We were laughing at McKinnon's fucking entries. I mean, him and McDavid backed the D off like nobody else. And that's going to kill them. Colorado's got the higher end scoring, the guys right now. If Dallas sits back, they're going to get beat. They've got to do something with their guys out.
They keep attacking like that. You know, their defense is going to be in so tight. All they're going to do is slow down a hair, and they're going to be the D's can be back right in front of the goaltender.
It's Blackwell in that.
Yeah,
it's not Wah back there for. It is Blackwell. Blackwell. No, I'm doing it. I'm doing Rafer. I'm ripping on Rafer. Blackwell. They've got to pressure him. The guy's going to give up goals if you put it on him. But if you're sitting back, what I say, everything from the rim. Get it to the middle and do something.
You know, it's interesting. We were talking. It's great to see Landeskog back. And this is a guy, gosh, I remember he was drafted by the Whalers. He didn't come to Plymouth when I was working there. He ended up going to our bitter rival, Kitchener. Had 2 great playoff series against him. Great to see him back. I don't care if you like a guy, you dislike a guy, whatever the case may be. But this dude is going to be gassed. Welcome to the fire. You're coming to a Game 7. This dude's going to be gassed when all's said and done.
I can't imagine how tired and sore he was after that first game he played. You know, it being off for 1,000, days or whatever, and then, conditioning and all that stuff, and then jump into the NHL playoffs. That's just totally different than the NHL regular season.
I give him all the credit. I didn't think he'd be able to do anything. He's obviously clearly done something. He's got 4 points. He's competed every game. It will be one of the greater stories if he continues to compete the entire playoffs if they prolong it after here. But nothing but credit. But you're right. He's at some point it's going to come crashing, especially like if they get a layoff in between hard series.
So a couple things going on, as Tom pointed out. Don't forget Jets and Blues Game 7 tomorrow. We can't do it, unfortunately. We all have something going on. I don't know if you guys saw this. The Chicklets were talking about. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Sidney Crosby to the Montreal Canadiens. Now, hold on. For those of you who maybe not are aware of this, Sidney Crosby grew up a huge Montreal Canadian fan. Of course, he's a Nova Scotia kid. And for people out there who don't know this, his father was drafted by the Habs. His father was drafted. It just so happened he was a goaltender, and he happened to get drafted in 1984. The same year that this guy named Patrick Waugh got drafted. So that didn't work out too well. There was a lot of speculation at trade deadline, and I even texted somebody that I know, without naming names, and said, is there any validity to this? There was a lot of speculation that Crosby might be on the move. Remember, there was the Colorado stuff. There was the Colorado stuff. If Kyle Dubas was smart, and I think he is.
I would hope.
Did you hear what word I said? Think.
Think.
I think he is. If Kyle Dubas was smart, he would move him. He would. Period. End of story. And you know what? I don't know if there's any validity to it. I'm not disrespecting the Chicklets at all. I'm not. Okay. I don't know if there's any validity to it. But if you were to move a guy like that, where would be a prime destination of a team that already has a lot in place, a lot of youth in place, a lot of youth still waiting to come up? And oh, by the way, if you guys aren't aware of this, they have 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and 2 third-round picks this year.
And that's going to be the key. That's the first thing. If you're going to move him, you're going to have to get a haul. You cannot get anything under a Hall for that. My whole thing would be, again, whether his dad was there or not, like, it's got to be his interest, right?
1,000%.
It's his interest. And that I think that's what drove
1,000%.
bringing him to his boyfriend MacKinnon. And that drove that whole rumor right there. So, but if he wants to be there, he should be able to make that move and be able to dictate what's going to come back.
Yeah. Sid is a guy he's going to be 38 years old this summer. He's going to be 38 years old.
How many years does he get left?
That's a great question. Let me say this, though. Watching him this past year, he's still, today, one of the best players in the National Hockey League.
Oh, yeah.
Today. At 37 years old, he's still one of the best players in the National Hockey League.
No argument.
I got to be honest with you. I'm trying really hard to control my erection in front of you three guys. Especially after all the sausage we ate. I'm trying really hard. All right. Well, did you notice? No. Do you know what I'm doing? I'm keeping my leg like this because I don't want you to see. So, thank you, Mike. Listen. This is the question that I would ask, okay? And I'm being serious. Are the Habs in a 2-year window for the Stanley Cup? Next year, no. Could we think about it 2 years from now? I'm going to say yes. I really, truly am. I hate myself for saying it, but I really do. But as a guy that, lifelong, I have not felt as good about this franchise in 30 years. Easy. I've not felt that good. Could you say that in 2 years they could make a run and you could have, dare I say, a 40-year-old Sidney Crosby on his last run?
Last hurrah, yeah.
Absolutely. We had our conversations, and I told you, and I said it wasn't a hot take. It wasn't me just saying it to you that I thought they were the better of the two teams in the Washington series. I thought they carried more of the play. I think they just got out-veteraned. So they have that under their belt. What's coming next? The only question mark is Dobish and Montembeault, and you've got Fowler in the wings. I liked what I saw out of Dobish. He made some saves. They can play. So I'm not saying he's not going to be good. You got to see it. So now that what you're saying is that gives you 2 years, because if not, then you have to bring someone in, because we know goalies. Fowler's not going to be ready in 2 years.
Our buddy Ben, you need stronger goaltender, but 2 years from now, sure. Listen, I have hammered Sam Montembeault for 2 years, okay? I think the Habs are doing the lifelong mistake of trying to force a Quebecois on people because that's what people want. I have to give the guy his due. The last month of the season, he was really good. He was really good in that series too. He was really good in that series. Unfortunately, he went down. But I agree with you, Ben. I agree with you, Mike. I don't think, if you're talking about graduating from this level, Samuel Montembeault is not your goaltender. No. I'm sorry, he's not. And is it Dobish? Is it Fowler? I think they're very desirous for Fowler. I really do. And just to throw a wrinkle in there, not to get all geeky on you, Keith Primo's kid got sent down and has been lights out in the AHL. Lights out. I mean, it's insane. Caden Primo has been lights out. So, the good news is they have some pieces that they could move. Do you move one of those pieces? Do you include, say, a Dobish in the deal and say, all right, we got Montembeault under – I still call him Montembeault. We got Montembeault under contract. We got Caden Primo if we have to need him. Maybe one more year of Cam Fowler in the AHL. Maybe he pulls a Carey Price and just jumps straight up. I don't know. But would you include a guy like that in the deal? And the answer to that is, if I'm Kyle, I'm asking for that. Absolutely.
You have to ask. You have to ask for that. Yep. Then you go one step further and ask for one of their rostered forwards, and then you start your negotiations from there. But when we were talking, Sean, I kept saying the only thing they don't have is forward depth. So you're talking about adding a top 5 in the game forward. You want Dobish? Here you go.
If I
agree.
I'll pay his contract.
I'm dealing with this in real time right now. So not only do you add Sidney Crosby, but you add Owen Beck from the Saginaw Spirit. who got his first taste. He got acclimated to the AHL this year. Now you add him. You can also, there are a couple young defensive pieces that haven't been able to crack the Habs lineup yet. Logan Mailloux, that you could say, okay, here's a young defenseman that can move the puck. That's what everybody wants. We already have a couple of them up in Montreal. I think it's conceivable. It's conceivable. Intent to deceive. Better goalie prospect, Fowler or Trey? It is a phenomenal question, and I'm not just saying this to try to be PC. It depends who you ask. I think some of the stuff that I've read, I'll give you my opinion in a second. Some of the stuff that I've read suggests that Fowler will be the better pro. I think that Augustine was tremendous his freshman year, and I don't think he was as good this year. I don't think he was as good this year. But World Junior Championship, I think that speaks volumes. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. How's that?
It's a coin toss.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be PC because he knows I always try to degrade the Habs because you people yell at me. But no, I'm being sincere. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
And you that position, you can't until you're up there. You'll never know
Exactly.
And whether it's too fast or not fast enough, you'll never know till they get up here. And then even then, it's 2-3 years that it takes most of them to mature. I mean, we're still watching Ottinger right now, mature into the role where they one day he's the greatest goalie in the world. So who knows? You can't tell. In my opinion, I guess what I'm saying is you can't tell from NCAA competition who the better pro is going to be.
All right, let's
shoot. Goaltending is a crapshoot.
1,000%. Let's get it out of the way. Congratulations to Maple Leafs. Your second series win in 21 years. I'm going to say this, you guys, and I'm serious when I say this, okay? I don't think they're going to get past Florida. I don't. If they get past Florida, I like their chances against Carolina or Washington.
Agree.
Do you agree?
Totally
Do you guys agree?
That's a good way to look at it.
Mike said the last episode we did was if Berube could get them playing the right way.
Yep. But what they
Hi, Eric.
What they showed us last series is it doesn't matter how hard Berube gets them to play. The looks on the faces in the time and in the moment. I don't know how that's not coachable. That you don't coach past the mental block of what they get when they go. Did I like what I saw in Game 6? Sure. This is going to be very telling. I think this is where you're going to know rather quick if the moment's too big for them and if they're going to get out professional by the Panthers.
The MVP the other day was a referee catching Alex Nylander in the lineup.
Yeah, right? That's how do you let that happen? Hey, Ted. Hey, Eric. Eric said, what are we drinking? I put down a couple Tallers. I love New Holland Tallers. I think Waters and Diet Dew and LaCroix the rest of the way. All right, so the Leafs were able to avoid being Leafs. Next on the docket. How? How does it fucking happen? You're Kings. You're Kings.
So this was the debate me and you were having is at some point, it's who you are. It's kind of like the Leafs. It's who we're going to find out if it was coach, if Berube can change them and change who they are. The Kings, I don't know if it's who they are, if it's in their mentality and character, or if it's the coach, because you can't play the way they play. I unfortunately believe, watching that series, that those are the two best teams I've seen in this playoff right now. The Kings, I said the other night, the Kings for 40 minutes of the game. Yeah. The unfortunate thing for the Kings is they faced Edmonton again, and right now Edmonton's the best team in the NHL, hands down, in my opinion, from what I've seen.
Even with Pickard.
Yes.
Right? Like they had to make that move. I mean, they had the miracle last year, obviously, with Skinner, and even with Pickard. And you know what, Mike? I think there's validity to that because I think Jim Hiller's going to get in. I knew Jim many, many years ago. He played at Northern. He was roommates with a mutual friend of ours. I think Jim's getting a bum rap in a certain regard. He's had to play the Oilers 2 years in a row, man. That's a pretty good team. And he's a
horrible play by Quentin Byfield away from winning that series.
That was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
You and I
look
were
at-
talking about that night.
Look at that two series. That play by Byfield and the offsides call in the Minnesota Wild, and we have a totally different looking playoff going forward. That right there, going back to LA would have been so huge.
Byfield was awesome that series,
Yeah.
except for one play.
So the Jets, same thing. The easy thing to do is blame it on the local kid. It is that, and it's the easy thing to do. But I want to be very clear when I say this. He hasn't been good in the playoff.
You got pulled.
He has
all
not.
3 games in St. Louis. You got pulled.
He has not been good.
He does not have good playoff numbers. That was a big point that everyone's been making. And when you look at who you going to take in a Game 7, Hellebuck or Benner. I mean, come on. Bennington's showing that he can do it.
Yeah.
He's the next, what we call Matt Murray. I mean, the guy just shows up.
That's a
and
good.
wins.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
You know, it's incredible. I mean, to look at it that way. Now, do I think I said it before we went on? I don't see a scenario where St. Louis is in the next round of the playoffs. I think they're awful, but they're playing the Jets, who are awful. That was I turned that game off and went to bed. That was such a bad hockey.
Bennington is the modern day equivalency of Grant Fuhr in the terms of money goalie. Money. Grant Fuhr often didn't look like one of the best in the world throughout a season, but gosh damn it, when playoff came, that son of a bitch knew how to make a stop. At least when he's with
switch and
at least
mode. Here we
right.
go.
I mean that's why Grant, the term money goalie, I think if you look it up, it probably has a picture of Grant Fuhr, and we saw that during the Four Nations. I mean, I think we all, when we were prognosticating that, okay, I think we all said I picked Canada, but we all said, man, Bennington.
And he came up big on Matthews and overtime.
He was huge. Yeah. He was absolutely huge. So no, it's are they going to lose tomorrow?
I think
Here's the
Jets will
deal.
lose. That's just it.
Here's the deal. You got the Jets are the best power play. They're going to need power play. Who's going to do it? They're an offensive team, and you have to take it off that shit behind the back.
I know it's hysterical.
DeBoer
is such a pro, though. Look at Pete. Not a boy, Petey.
They've got to change their game to play in front of Hellebuck now. They have to. So they're going to stop from pushing the puck to scoring goals. That's a St. Louis game. So who are you taking? St. Louis with Bennington or Winnipeg changing their game with a Hellebuck who hasn't been a playoff goalie? Again, I can't sit there and say it. I'm not betting it.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I have says Winnipeg, but
I heard Scheifele skated today.
they're going to need it.
They need a boost.
That team.
They need.
Yeah.
Dude, I like honestly, and you know, I give Cheveldayoff off credit because he kind of laid the groundwork for what you see a lot of general managers do, and what Steve Yzerman's trying to do, and certainly what Hughes is trying to do in Montreal is, okay, we're going to take our lumps, but we're going to get so much talent that we're going to be able to deal from a position of strength. And I always go back to this. It's 7 years ago now that Hockey News had that famous cover. Remember, Winnipeg Jets, Stanley Cup champions 2021 or whatever the hell it was. And in 2021, they looked the part, and then they played dead against the Habs in that series. Mike, I remember texting you going, is this real? What's the Habs dominated them. They really did. Until the last game, and it was a sweep, but they dominated them, and it was crazy. But Mike, I'm with you. I have no reason to say Winnipeg wins at home tomorrow. There's no reason to say Winnipeg wins at home tomorrow. That also saying there's no way I see St. Louis in the second round. That's a terrible hockey team. Yeah.
I know they play their balls off. I'll give you that. Montgomery's got them playing hard, and they play hard in front of them.
How about Snuggerud coming in from Minnesota? He's on the top line, playing penalty kill, playing power play.
Yeah,
getting some goals.
absolutely.
What a philosophy of having your guys and bringing them to the
Ted
show.
said, "Look at those cans, Teddy." We were, we were. London and Oshawa start Thursday. You're going to one of the games, aren't you?
Yeah, we're going to try to get out to the London games. Brooksy's parents are taking the tickets, so we're going to have to find them. We're just waiting for dates and times so I know if I'm in town. I'm going to drive somebody out there to see them.
Yeah, if you haven't been there yet, and Tom, I know you know this, it's nicer, even though it's been open, 22 years now, 23 years now, it's nicer than most NHL rinks as far as I'm concerned. It's beautiful. I got a chance to be there, obviously, many times for broadcast, but even to go to the Memorial Cup there, when the Memorial Cup there was there in 2005 was really cool. Eric said, "Did you throw away your Habs beanie?" Hell no, I'm going to buy another one with Sidney Crosby's number on it. You kidding me? I mean, finally, a Crosby makes the Habs. Yeah, in case you don't know what we're talking about, the Chicklets are firing around a rumor of Crosby potentially going to the Habs. And there's a history there. He grew up a big Habs fan. His father was drafted by the Habs. And these are the kind of moves that I think a lot of people it was nice to hear Steve Yzerman talk about that last week because I know, Mike, you and I have been talking about it for weeks. The Red Wings have a nice foundation. They do. Those aren't just words. What they're lacking right now is a star. And it doesn't mean that one of these young guys can't develop still into a star, but it was nice to hear Steve say, yeah, you know what? We're at that point now where we need to go out and throw that $11 million contract around. We need to try to do that. And it's not going to be that easy with this UFA class. This isn't a banner UFA class at all. But this is where you can get interesting. And this is where I always use the line, what are you prepared to do? I mean, seriously, what are you prepared to do? Because if I an opposing general manager, you know what I'm asking for? I'm asking for Marco Kasper. I'm asking for ASP. I'm asking for things that can help me. If I'm going to give up a no, okay, I'm going to ask for some pieces that look pretty good. And ASP hasn't played a game yet. He's coming. I think, there's a buzz about him for good reason. I really like Kasper. I don't know if you guys all agree, but we're getting close to that time where Steve's done a good job of accumulating all the assets. Now it's time to turn some of those assets into something else.
Yeah, I wouldn't, as a fan, I would not hold my breath for a trade. He's not going to do it. He is not going to trade one of his key picks that he has. It is going to be.
No problem trading Jonathan Drouin.
No.
What a horrible trade.
Well, I'll tell you what.
What a horrible trade.
If you want Rasmussen, we're on. We'll make a trade. That's the Drouin trade. Come on. He fleeced you. So with that, he's not going to do that. He's going to keep those guys. And then we're looking at we have to take a look at, we said we were going to do it, the next class of UFAs.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to sign anything this year. There's nothing there. What is in the next year? Then that way, you're getting closer to Augustine. You're letting Kasper get another year. Hopefully Danielson now is next year's Kasper, right? He gets his time, and I just don't see him he loves those picks so much. All the way to the kid out in, who's the kid in Duluth?
Kid got hurt.
Yeah, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
We're getting close to that point in time, though, that I know, Mike, you and I have talked about the last couple of years, where you're seeing the top and the bottom kind of reverse itself with the Atlantic Division. And that's one difficult thing, not just for the Red Wings, but I think the younger teams in this division. You got to feel sorry for Buffalo because for all their talent, they haven't been able to put it together. Montreal and Ottawa took a huge step up. Montreal a year early by nobody could argue that. But the problem is you have multiple teams in the division doing the same thing now. And Florida has shown they're not going away. Tampa has showed, at least in the regular season, they're not going away. Let's see what happens with Toronto. The Atlantic Division's a bitch.
Oh, yeah.
It really is. It's a bitch.
Well, like they say, you got to give up something to get something because you're not going to get an established player for nothing.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to give up something, but what is that something going to be? And is he going to do it?
Yep. Ben was talking about Mazur. Mazur's a good he's a good depth guy. He's a good depth guy. I think I'm gonna say it.
I'm
gonna say it, and I know people are gonna get mad at me. I know how this town gets about some of their own. We have a tendency to call good players great.
I knew that was coming.
We have a tendency to call great players superstars. And I think, just in my opinion, having seen it's right on Keplin's face. Having a chance to see Mazur play a while, Mazur's a good glue guy. He's a good glue guy. I think if anybody is thinking anything more than that, I think they're.
And I don't know why people get mad at that. A third, fourth line NHL player is really good.
Right.
You need those.
And you
You
need those
need
guys-
third and fourth
Yeah,
liners
exactly.
making $2 to $3 million, $5 million to be able to be successful. Not everyone is a superstar $12 million player. It was Max Plant, by the way.
Yes, Max Plant. Jim said, is it a 3 or 4 year plan for the Red Wings at this point? That's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless he gets creative. If he gets creative, if he's able to fleece somebody like he was able to fleece a couple people when he was in Tampa. I say this again in defense of Steve Yzerman, all right? And I don't think enough people consider this. The big difference between what he had to do here, starting from nothing, and what he had to do in Tampa is he was able to inherit a guy that was this close in Hedman and a guy that was this close in Stamkos. There was nothing resembling that here. Nothing and please don't throw Dylan Larkin at me. Don't do that. We've had that conversation too many times. If Dylan Larkin hasn't shown you what he is, he never will. He's a good player. I like Dylan Larkin. I've said it 1,000 times. Don't put him on the same pedestal as a Stamkos or a lot of the 1Cs in the league. So I think you have to give Steve Yzerman some credit in regards to that. But, Mike, I said that knowing that I could feel you breathing down my neck. You gotta be better in signing NHL guys. You have to be better with free agents. You have to
be. But look, again, I just made the statement. There's nothing wrong with being a third and fourth line or a bottom six guy. But you have to sign something other than bottom six guys. He's done a good job of overpaying bottom six guys. It's an unfortunate thing that Detroit now is an overpaying place to go to, but that's just the reality of who we are. And in my opinion, it depends on what that guy's asking with the 3 to 4 year plan. What do you mean? What's your end plan? I think they are competitive in the playoffs in 4 years, meaning that you could see them winning a series or two or saying, hey, that's
all he wants.
Exactly.
That's all he wants.
That's exactly. So but you know what people here think, Sean. 4 year plan means a Stanley Cup in 4 years. That's not happening.
That's what they expect.
Okay, I'm going to take that back. I'm not Nostradamus. I don't know that that's not going to happen, but that's not what I see.
No.
4 years are going to be.
Yzerman is the embodiment of scared money don't make money. I would like him to take more chances. I think that there are enough pieces in place right now where you could make a deal and give up one of the nice prospects that you have, because this is where people get lost, all right? Because on one side, you have the slapdicks who think that they're this close, and they aren't. And on the other side, you have the fire Yzerman crowd, which I'm sorry, I don't agree with it. It's taken longer than everybody thought. I get it. I understand that. But my gosh, if you haven't seen what he's put in place in this franchise, there's a really good base in this franchise, and some of those guys have a chance to develop yet. They just showed her boobs
all
again.
day.
It's unbelievable.
All day. It's a great gig.
Eric said, "Would you get the 67 on a beanie, Cindy, a Habs guy?" Well, again, I know there have been a lot of people joining us. The Chicklets are speculating that Crosby could go to Montreal. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't think they're guys to throw things against the wall for whatever it's worth. Wait a second. No more over-the-hill D-men. The back end of their defense core has been bad since day one. The back end of their defense core has been bad since day one. What if Buffalo would have stood behind Eichel and let him get his neck surgery? I just don't think it was ever going to work out there.
Show me where Buffalo's proven that they're anything but Buffalo.
Yeah,
I don't care who's there.
It's sad.
It's the craziest thing because
they have
there's
so
much talent.
Gosh, it's
They have
incredible.
so much talent.
The guys that they've had.
Yeah.
What else has jumped out to you guys in this first round? I can't believe we just bullshitted through like 10 minutes of this period, by the way. What else has jumped out to you guys in this first round? Obviously, Florida reports of their demise are grossly exaggerated. And Mike, I think you pointed it out. I don't know if you guys saw the same thing. Tampa looked like the team that had a lot of long runs and not Florida, and they looked disinterested at points in time in that
They were
series.
gassed
Right?
at times.
Kucherov just looked.
Isn't that weird?
It was as scared as I've ever seen an NHL team. I've never seen someone throw pucks off their sticks to avoid hits more, and they were turning it
There's
over.
one.
This was bound to happen. That again, Colorado's been
Manson.
backing them in. They've got the better talent, and Dallas is just sitting there. They can't get anything done. That last little opportunity they had where Blackwell made the save. I think it was the only time Dallas had gotten inside. Colorado's winning this game. But
That darn Blackwell deserved
Are you
better,
telling
didn't he?
me?
That Blackwell. By the way, if
That's-
Ray Ferraro's called him Blackwell about 71 times tonight, so that's why we're having fun with it. Listen, I give Dallas all the credit in the world for extending this as far as they have. You're taking two key components off your roster.
Yeah, top two player.
That's
the top scorer.
like that's huge. That's absolutely huge so for them to take this as far as they have is outstanding. It really is.
If somehow they can pull this off, get those guys back.
Right?
Somebody's picks beginning here is looking pretty good.
You talked about
they just gave up a shorthanded goal.
you talked about the Wild as well, and the Wild were another team like Dallas. Like, I think people forget, I liked them early in the year, and then they got through the injury thing, right? And when they got healthy, boy, they gave Vegas all they could handle. They really could. They gave Vegas all. I still like Vegas to come out of the West. I really do. But man, I think that's a cute little team. I like that Wild team. I really do.
I will be looking early at their odds for next year once stuff starts coming out, just because I think they have shown that they are the team that you fell in love with in the beginning of the year. I couldn't believe when the series came back to Minnesota 1-1, they were still 40-1. And I jumped on them at 40-1. They go up 2-1. I'm looking real good. And then what happened. Something that stands out there's a couple of things that stand out to me. You have your two favorites. You've got Florida and Carolina right now are your odds-on favorites, and I'm not impressed with either of them. Carolina got outplayed 5-on-5 against a very short-handed
immensely
team.
Yeah.
And I don't care who the goalie is. I don't think they've got a goaltender. Florida got by. They looked impressive, but again, Tampa was one of the most unimpressive, if not the most unimpressive team in the first round. But still sitting here, I can't say that I love anybody except for I'm going to go with Edmonton still.
Yeah,
Edmonton was my pick. I'm still going with Edmonton. I think they're top, but it's still, I think, a toss-up.
I'm going with Vegas still, but I'll tell you what. The way Logan Thompson played in the first round, I like Carolina better. But if we're talking about Logan Thompson against Freddie Anderson, right? Washington's going to win that series. If all things are considered equal and it really comes down to goaltending, how could you say Freddie Anderson over Logan Thompson as well as Logan Thompson played? Seriously.
Yep.
Because, I mean, the Habs peppered him at times. Now, like the typical young bullshit team that they are, they decided to start playing a period and a half into almost every game. Well, really, in this series, it was the third period they decided playing those mother. But, that's the kind of stuff that pissed me off. Rob said, Florida has been really good for a while, and I'm happy for Paul Maurice. Guys like Barkov that finally got their due. Miami sports fans, however, in general, are awful. I don't even need to go further back than this, but if you asked a fan who Roberto Luongo was, at no point would the phrase Florida Panthers be used in their response. Isn't that unbelievable? Got it? Look at that. That's the replay. All right. Beanie. Yes, Eric, I would get a beanie. Carolina is allergic to a true number one goaltender. Rob, it's been that way for a decade. It's incredible. It really is. And, when I had a chance to broadcast some games for them, you saw what a good young nucleus they had. And I remember telling my buddies, like, if you don't know who Sebastian Aho is, you will. I mean, he's a heck of a player. They haven't been able to get that goalie. It's incredible. And Rod the Bod's done such a good job there. But goaltending, my goodness gracious. Jim said, I picked Landeskog to score the cup winner.
I love it.
Would that be unbelievable?
When you say picked it, like just out of the blue, or are you talking about you have a bet on that?
That would be fantastic.
That would be
Put on the original beanie. It's upstairs, Eric. Yeah, it's upstairs. So
shoot the puck.
it was a little warm today, so I didn't need to wear the beanie.
In between of what he wanted to do with it.
All right, let's look ahead.
thinking.
Let's look ahead to the next round. Carolina, Washington. Hubie, I'm going to start with you. Who you got?
I'm gonna go Washington.
Hunter.
I'm going to go Washington.
Mike.
I know where my money is. I have to go. I've got to go Washington. I don't like what I saw to Carolina in the first round of what they did against New Jersey. It just should have been easier than that. So I'll go Washington.
I'm going to go 4 for 4, and Carolina was my team to go to the finals. But your same reasoning, and Freddie Anderson reminded me why he's Freddie Anderson. I mean, really, that's really what it comes down to. Maple Leaf and Florida.
Florida.
Maple Leaf.
Are you really taking them?
I think
Fucking Toronto's going to the Stanley Cup then. Gosh damn it.
I'm unimpressed
Fuck.
with Florida just because of what Tampa was and what Tampa put forward. I think the biggest step for Toronto, if they are to go, would have been the first round against Ottawa.
Toronto's going to the Stanley. If that happens, I'm convinced they beat either one of
They
those.
beat Florida.
I'm convinced they beat either one of them. I'm going Florida. Sorry, pal. All right, in the West, we can't really say, right? There's 2 games going on. So we'll hold it off. We'll hold it
I
off.
think I think the winner of this series wins.
Yeah.
I think Colorado Dallas gets past the next round.
Eric said on your
That's me.
weekly show,
Yeah,
will you
thank
wear
you,
the
Sam.
beanie? It's kind of warm though, Eric. So I don't know if I want to
can
wear
see
the beanie inside. Florida is a great place to see a game. It is. Rob said Carolina hits the over on 3.5 goals per game. They can beat Washington. They're going to have to do that because can they? Absolutely they can. But the way Logan Thompson's playing right now, there's such a premium on goaltending, and my gosh, I just think there's such a huge edge between him and Freddie. I really do.
Have to bet against them.
Yeah, Stolarz versus former team is an underrated storyline. You got to give it up for Stolarz. He wasn't the problem. Game 5 was the funniest thing though. How bad the core 4 was. I mean it was awful. And what's the old adage? You're in the big games, your best players have to be your best players. They were their worst players.
Yes.
Legitimately,
Mhm.
they were there.
They're
They were
all-
those. They were those.
Was it Nyes and McMatthews were -4?
Yeah, they're both -4.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. All right. Anything else? Is there anything else you guys want to hit on?
the
Look at this.
Vegas.
Well, I know what I want to touch on is that Dallas is in a game 7 at home, almost at the end of the second period, and they have 9 freaking shots on net. And I don't think any of them's come from anything but the fucking board.
Beaufait said, "You didn't eat all the sausage. Come on, get it down."
That's round 2. That's round 2.
There's more coming. There's more coming, Both. Both, you're coming over too. I'm holding you to it, right? I won't make the announcement because it'd be like Beatlemania here. There'd be so many people like cramming.
Livonia would be outside your
Is
door.
he here? Is
All
he
the
really
All
here?
the groupies would be hanging outside with the Mark posters and.
All right. Enjoy the games. Peace out. Odds of the Wings having 5 goalies on its roster next year.
Just as good as the Cleveland Browns quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, there are some funny quarterback rooms though. Like the Giants and Cleveland are just
Yeah,
funny quarterback rooms. All right. Final thoughts. What did you want to? I know you wanted to hit on something before we got out of here.
I think the only one we didn't pick was Vegas. Well,
I'm going to go Vegas. I think that goes 7, but I'm going to go Vegas.
I'm going to go Vegas too.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Edmonton,
Okay.
just to stir the pot.
Edmonton's the best team in the NHL.
All right. All right. All right.
Just to stir the pot.
You know what? Both, I'm telling you, I'm going to have Mike bring these firecracker sausages from, what is it, Milford Butcher?
Milford Village.
Village.
They are the
Village
best.
Butcher.
They are the best sausages. They were gone like that. We finished those. The only thing we got left right there is
They never made it in the house.
no. They never really. They didn't make it in the house. Neither did the beef short ribs, if we're being honest. They didn't. We were standing out in my patio.
Nothing made
Really,
it in the
nothing
house.
made it. This is the only thing that
But
made
that's
it.
round 2 that you cooked when Hubie was coming.
Yeah, that's the only thing that made it. So those are jalapeno cheddar fillers and chili cheese fillers. But the sausages, and let me say this, okay? You guys have probably heard. I'm a big fan of the stuff that Kroger does. I am serious. Kroger's very underrated. Their meat selection's very underrated. The things that they make themselves are very underrated, except for the jalapeno cheddar brats that they came out with.
Yes.
I don't. That's not fair. That's not. I said not good. That's not fair. It's a
It's
bratwurst.
flavorless.
It was flavorless.
It
It
tasted
was
like
good with mustard.
Yeah, it was a brat.
It tasted like a large breakfast sausage.
Eric, can I get a
Can't wait
shout
for
out?
that.
Of course you
No
can.
seasoning.
Shout out to you, Eric.
Yes, no seasoning.
Can't wait to try them at home.
Yeah, you see,
I bought 3 packs this morning.
listen. Maybe we got like a bad batch. I don't know.
I'll let you know.
There was
You can't get a bad bag. It had no
There was
seasoning.
no.
there was nothing in it.
There's no spark in it.
There was nothing in it. But it's funny because we talk about those firecrackers. Sometimes you get like a cheesier version of the firecrackers, and sometimes you get like a spicier version of the firecrackers. Today there was a little kick to those firecrackers today.
Yes.
Not as bad as we've had it, but better.
No.
The last ones were way more.
They
mild.
were
Yes,
cheesier. They were cheesier to be sure. Hunter, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I just waiting for more hockey.
Okay, Mike,
The Oilers.
do you have money on the Oilers?
You would not even believe how I have myself set up.
There's so many.
There's so much. I did lose a couple of my big ones, but as long as Florida and Vegas doesn't win it, I at least break even. I go from breaking even to having a grand day.
Well, I hope you have a grand day.
Yeah, really.
Because that means we have some grand barbecues. So that's a damn good thing. All right, we're out. We will so Shep and I will be back at it Monday. Let's see, Tuesday. For some reason I think I have something going on Tuesday. Don't I have something going on Tuesday? I'm not sure if we can do something Tuesday.
Professor Tuesday?
No, I'm professor on Thursday. I have my class on Thursday. You know what? Tuesday, Mike, I think what I'm doing Tuesday is you know what? I gotta drive my daughter to MSU. And then maybe we'll do like What the Puck on Tuesday.
Okay.
And then Wednesday, I'm just talking to myself right now as I watch a game. But listen, have yourselves a great night. Thanks for joining us, and go hockey.
More shots at the Dallas bench.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, see ya.
More shots of the Dallas bench for sure. Bye, guys. Sidney Crosby to Montreal.
What the Puck with Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Always Pushing Forward by Elliot Middleton. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Got something to say to Sean? Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.